Hey trainers, welcome back to the channel, your home for everything happening in the YouTube Pokémon Draft League. Today, we're joined by the coach of a team that is all gas, no brakes, sharp with prep, and ready to make some serious noise this season, the LA Linoones. We're going to talk about their draft, team building, expectations for the season ahead. Let's not waste any time. Please welcome Adrian KinkyNesquick, head coach of the LA Linoones. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. Yeah, that's correct. I seem to not be able to get away from the Los Angeles Linoones because it's funny. I made the team as a joke like 6 years ago. Not 6 years ago. I guess not so much as a joke because I live in LA, and so then I was like, oh man, how do I like do LA out, right? Like it's like the Lakers, and I was like, oh, we'll just do Los Angeles Linoones, and then now it's just like kind of stuck with me, which is funny because I have like nothing to do with Linoones, but. Like my favorite Pokemon, if you ask me rapid fire, would be like Garchomp. So like you know what I mean? Like I got no.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna eliminate one of the questions about Linoone. No, I'm kidding. There's no question about Linoone.
Yeah.
No, that's actually kind of funny. I didn't even ask that, so you're already ready for this, ready to go. So welcome to the show. How does it feel to have the draft behind you and your squad locked in?
I'm excited. It feels good. It's draft's always like kind of a funny or is a fun time. It's like the fun time of a draft season because playing's fun, but drafting's always the fun part. So yeah, I feel pretty confident. I think I kind of did a pretty decent strategy this time with my draft. So yeah, pretty happy. Now we get to the prep part, which is not as equally fun, but you know it's fun in a different way.
So you just play to do the draft and then just start another one? And you're just like, all right, who wants this team?
You know, I've thought about that. I thought about joining a league and just drafting and be like, all right, guys, I can't play anymore.
It's a new business model. I will draft your team for $50.
Yeah, no,
but you know what though? Looking at the team you ended up with, I'd pay you good money for that as well. And we'll be getting into that as well. But onto the team, and just more so the draft specifically. What was your mindset kind of going into this draft? Like, did you have a plan like early on, or were you just kind of going pick by pick?
Well, I had the first overall pick, right? So, you know, for context, it was a randomized order, and you can draft whatever you want. And since I got the first pick, you know, I was kind of like, it was a blessing and a curse because you know I play a lot of fantasy football, and getting the first pick is fun, but at the same time, you might pick something that's like, ooh, you know, probably not the best thing. So I kind of wanted to go with, you know, what was something that fits so many roles. And I was going between a lot of different mons, you know, I think Fluttermane, Nihans, Urshifu was in there. And
the goats.
Yeah.
Imagine getting more than one of those.
Say again?
Imagine getting more than one of those.
Dude, I actually got two of those. Yeah. So
wow, it was like a setup.
Yeah, right.
No, it's funny, man. Like you mentioned the first overall pick. Like the first thing I thought of was with great power comes great responsibility, right? So it's hard, man. And I think you hit a home run with it. Fluttermane's a great start. What made you pick that one?
I think ultimately, in comparison to Urshifu's and Iron Hands, I think versatility is probably the biggest asset for draft league mons, and I think Fluttermane, it gives you the offensive presence, but also gives you utility in being able to set up Trick Room, and it has Thunder Wave, it has speed support. So I think it was like a very like if I don't get one thing, I have it in my best mon or my first mon that I'm drafting, and I think we're okay. Like even if it's the only Trick Room mon I get, it doesn't matter. It gets Trick Room. And Trick Room is Trick Room at the end of the day, regardless of what I say. I can put a sash on this thing and we'll make it happen. So, yeah, that's why I went with Fluttermane. I just felt like it gave me the most options of all the months. And funny enough, Urshifu slid to the second. I think Urshifu single slid to like the 6th round. So I think my judgments were right because Urshifu's great. Does one thing really really well, but doesn't do a lot of things much else past that. So,
well, yeah. And we went over that a little bit with Spades in the last interview, depending on when these are released. But no, if you go back to the interview, we actually talked about things that were surprising going so late, but in a format where everything is legal. As I'll just allude to it a little bit, that everything is legal. There's no tiers, no nothing. Pick it if it's available. The teams are completely stacked. there are going to be a lot of things that slip through the cracks, and there are definitely some large pieces that slip through these small cracks. And but it doesn't change the power level of a lot of these teams. They're completely stacked. And I guess you'll see that in this the analysis video of the draft coming up probably in the near future if we ever get to it. But great pick with the Fluttermane. I actually think you did a lot of roll compression with that one pick, and that's always a very, very nice way to start off the draft. So that being said, segueing into this, every team has that one centerpiece they build around. Was that your first pick?
Yeah, Fluttermane for sure. It's for all those reasons I just said. I just think it does offense, it does support, it does speed support, also speed control. So I think Fluttermane's probably going to appear, more times than not. I know the team's got a lot of different tools, but I think Flutter, yeah. Also, I feel like Fluttermane has a weird rap in Draft League, so it's kind of my taking it upon myself to try to make it happen. VGC, we all know, but in regular, it's or Draft League, I feel like I don't know sometimes. So, yeah, I'm also determined to let's make it happen.
Well, it takes a good coach to use a good mon, and I think might have the right coach at the helm right now, which is nice.
We'll see.
Well, when it comes to like draft curveballs, were there any picks that kind of caught you off guard and like forced you to pivot, like maybe a late snipe, or just kind of talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me was the Meowstick. I think Meowstick is really good on teams that like to go fast, because because it gets a lot of really disruptive support moves. So I was kind of really wanting it, but yeah, once that one went, it kind of. I guess it didn't cause me to pivot too much. I really just pivoted in the support that I got, and I think it ended up being perfectly fine. That was probably the biggest. Like, oh man, I wish I would have done that. So other than that, I think I got pretty much most things that I wanted.
Well, I do think you did pivot very well based on how the team ended up. It might actually be on the screen if my editor, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, puts it on the screen. That would be great. Yeah. But it doesn't look like you had any issues with pivoting and getting sniped. Like you did say that one happened, it would have been a nice piece, but I guess you settled for another Prankstermon and Illumise as well. Was that a big pivot for you? Like did it kind of match some of the roles it already accomplishes?
It's similar. I think it does the same sort of disruption. I think that the big difference here is that it doesn't get moves like Tickle, for example. It doesn't get Thunder Wave, which are more directly fake out, right? Which are more directly disruptive to your opponent. Illumise kind of is just really, really good support. It's annoying support. But really the fake tiers for me is what's going to be really helpful on my team. My team, as you can tell, my first 2 picks were just all gas, no brakes. And adding fake tiers to that is just like, I guess why not? Let's just keep pouring onto the damage output. I'm happy with Illumise. Illumise is totally fine in terms of support. I still think I have the right support that I needed, so all good.
Well, if anybody's curious of the effect of fake tiers next to a Chi-Yu with choice specs and overheat, throw that in the damage calculator, see how that looks. I bet it would KO things it probably shouldn't kill. But KO, not kill. Oof, Pokemon's out to get me. But I kind of want to get into like synergy and style as well, like when it comes to your draft. Like looking at your final team, what is the Linoones play style this season? Is it like HO, hyper offense, balance, or something a little spicy, maybe unpredictable? Like what are we looking at here?
No, this is straight up. I'm gonna just start clicking attack buttons. You know that meme where it's like, where I think when you grow up and you're playing the games and you see your mon doesn't have a moon that doesn't hit attack. That's not a damage thing.
Delete immediately.
No. Yeah, that's me.
Swords Dance. Get out of here.
What happened?
Swords Dance. Get out of here. Like my 9-year-old self is just like, that doesn't do any damage.
Does it do damage? Then no. So that's going to be kind of the thing. I don't really have. I got mons that actually. It's funny enough. I do have mons that have Swords Dance on my team and have a Corviknight, but I just don't think.
Does it get SD? I thought it was just bulk up or whatever. But you do have that option, which is pretty cool. So maybe change up the pace a bit. Maybe can you see yourself doing that or?
Yeah, I think matchup dependent. I tried to draft as aggressive as possible, to give myself again. I think I said this in my review of my own team. I think I tried to draft to give me the most offensive tools to try to break through teams versus trying to just kind of stall them. I just want to start just doing damage and then grabbing. And then what's good on hyper offensive teams is to have a good win condition, because since they do a lot of damage, you can bring something that is very bulky, like an Annihilate, for example, that kind of can stand by itself and just do its own thing as long as it doesn't have anything threatening on the other side. And for me, that was Porygon too. So yeah, it's a good change ups. But yeah, I think overall my team's pretty aggressive. It's pretty hyper offensive for sure.
I would definitely agree with that assessment as well. So, hey, and if you find the right prep partner, they might cook up something spicy for you as well. Give your opponent a curveball here and there, you know. But I think your team can definitely just win on its own with just clicking buttons, you know.
Yeah.
So okay, so just kind of getting into like some of the other teams or whatever it is. Well, actually, no. Let me start with more so your team as well. Maybe like the other stuff. So every coach usually has a Pokemon or two that opponents may underestimate. Who on your roster do you think could kind of catch people off guard? I know it's more of a high power, I know it's more of like a high power league. So is there anything that kind of just like stands out that might kind of catch people off guard, or what do you think?
I think Iron Boulder. I think Boulder is one of the more lesser knowns of the Iron series of Paradox Pokemon. It's when you look at it, you're like, well, how can I not ignore what this thing does? I mean, base 120 attack isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it does get that mighty cleave, I think is what it's called, or
Yes.
something like that. And that moves crazy. I mean, it's just hits behind protect, and it's just stupid.
It's like a
So
pseudo
yeah,
Urshifu.
yeah, which is why I kind of drafted it, because I'm like, the nature of my team also wants you to have protect. I do have a lot of spread, so protect doesn't really can run for me that easily. But even if you want to hit protect on a really off turn, I can just mighty cleave and still do damage. So I think Iron Boulder is going to sneak up on people. Its move pool isn't the most diverse thing in the world, but I think in prep there'll be some weeks where I think Rock sneaks up on people. I think people kind of Rock types have a sort of bad reputation, I think, because they have lots of weaknesses, and most people run Rock Slide, and most mons that have Rock Slide are usually not Rock types, or they're dual types, so that way they don't have to deal with all the wonderful weaknesses that Rock types have, defensively. But yeah, so I think this team might sneak up on people that have a surprising weakness to Rock types, and so yeah, I'm excited to use it. I've never used it before, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely a Pokemon people would overlook, especially on a team with the firepower that you have, just kind of across the board. So yeah, I can see that kind of catching people off guard as well. So we talked about your team and kind of what the identity of the team is and things it can do, and we're all your teamed out right now. But I did have questions about what you think of the other teams. Like, are there any teams that you're especially looking out for this season, or is there anything that kind of caught your eye that you're like, I see you over there? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I think I looked at the Nova Scotia Lumberjacks. I thought that team was pretty interestingly balanced. I think the Sneasel going off the board was pretty interesting for me, so I'm kind of keep my eye on that. Funny enough, I actually do like Supernova Jirachi's team. I just think that this team is a trope on VGC staples. It's really funny. Like, when I did my review on it, I thought that was really funny. Like his team has his team has a lot of things that people like. So, for example, when I mean tropes like Tailwind ground spread, right? So Tailwind earthquake, water, prankster water, redirection, and it has a golden goal on that team. So I think that team probably is going to be interesting. And then the Dondozo team, I think, is the one that's also pretty interesting. It has a lot of these strats that are used like Lamora with the poison stuff, to whittle down your opponents to set up Dondozo Tatsugiri, and it has a Ting Lu, which is annoying, but yeah, I think that's kind of I think sort of honorable mention is Cambridge Camrups. There's a lot of interesting offense that people aren't quite used to from mons that they're not quite used to.
Yeah, Enamorous Incarnate and Iron Moth are probably up there. Yeah.
Yeah, like Archuludon and Urshifu, yeah, okay, everybody plays against them. Ogerpon, as of recent, has been coming up, but Landorus also, it's been around, but Iron Moth and Amorous, people don't have experience playing against those things. Bastion Female, I mean, but anyways, yeah, and then, on top of that, you have the Urshifu for just that burst, just single damage is going to be rough. So, yeah, those are some of the teams that popped off the page at me, I think, initially.
Yeah, there are a bunch of super strong teams, and I think the ones that you mentioned definitely stand out for sure. Yeah, especially with Otto being such a strong player, and then whenever you see Dozogiri, like everybody, all right, everybody, change the plan up. We see Dozogiri, we need 3 answers. I definitely got mine, and I think you got yours too. So I think if you didn't, actually, in the other interview that I did, we were talking about possibly not having, because there's so much power across the board. I think it's going to come down to, did you miss a piece? Did you not draft a piece that you need to beat all of these super strong teams? And I guess we'll find that out pretty soon. Good thing we have some transactions we can kind of pull off, which is nice. No, thank you for that. So that's good. So diving into kind of how you would prep for kind of week 1, like what's your prep process like? Like, are you a heavy calc kind of guy, or do you kind of just like reading your opponent's habits? You play the man? Like, well, what are you thinking?
I'm a very lines player. I like to know my lines into teams. Like I like to have a comfortability of like when I play someone, I don't want it to be like this is the first time that I've seen him or them do a move, right? Like I'm like, oh, this is okay. This person is gonna lead, Palette Ludon. This isn't the first time that I've practiced against it. That's just an obvious example, but so I'm a very like I like to just do like lines and lines and reps and reps. In terms of the calcs, I do obviously do some like baseline calcs. So like I do obviously speed calcs and stuff, but in terms of like offensive hits, it's not really too much. I think in draft league there's too much variability to really get nailed down, specific offensive calcs unless it's really advantageous. I think it's sometimes better to just make sure that you have enough survivability for the things you need to survive and just understand the lines that can be thrown at you so that way you're not in games to quickly corner yourself into a wall. Because I think in draft league, like I said, like I think it's very easy to be like, oh, I just didn't bring nothing for this. When you probably did, you just don't have that. You're just not used to how to like pivot against it because there might be that one thing that you really struggle against. So that's just sort of my philosophy around it. And then my team's hyper offensive again, so like I'm gonna just start throwing punches and like I'm gonna just start bringing something that hit you with every single turn. So if I win, I win. If I don't, the games will be over pretty fast. So yeah, I'm excited.
The best defense?
He's good offense.
It's good offense.
Yeah.
No, I like it. So, all right. So that's basically it for like the kind of general questions that I had. I kind of want to like as we kind of close out the interview, I kind of want to do a few rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Most annoying move to face?
Probably Thunderwave.
Thunderwave. Okay. Guts or sheer force?
Sheer force.
Okay. By the way, I'm asking no explanation for any of these. It's like Markiplier kind of thing. Which Pokemon deserves a buff?
Deserves a buff? Oh, Incineroar.
Probably the best answer ever. All right. Nicknames. Serious or goofy?
Goofy.
Goofy or none?
Or none. I don't ever use them. If I do, I just do them after people that I know. So yeah.
I guess I only gave you 2 options, but all right. I don't know if I know the answer to this question, but I think I kind of do. What's more fun to win, 1-0 or 4-0?
Probably 4-0.
Yeah, I figured that you'd say that. All right.
Yeah.
All right, last one, and I specifically chose this one for you, and you have no idea it's coming. If your team was a sports franchise, what would the mascot be?
If I was a sports franchise, what would the mascot be?
If your team was a sports franchise, what would the mascot be?
Hey, go Raiders! If you're the Raiders!
I knew the
Raiders! The fucking Raiders!
Hey, you guys talking about the Raiders?
Hey, go Raiders! The Raiders! Gotta root for the Raiders!
Oh, man, that was good. All right. I do have one final question, though, but it's more of an outro question. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say to your fans or the rest of the league heading into the season?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a tough season because everybody's team is really good. So, yeah, I'm excited.
I thought you were going to say, like, get wrecked, nerd, or something like that, or, like, come at me, bro, or call an ambulance, but...
No, I mean, it will be a skill issue most. Well, and I will say for those that got the bye weeks versus Kevs, Kev sucks, and so you got
Dude, every interview's gonna say Kev sucks somewhere.
yes, shame on you for getting the bye week that I didn't get. So Kev
I never
sucks.
drew Kev's this season. Oh, you're saying everybody that drew him.
So everybody that drew him, you suck because Kev sucks. So you get a free bye week. You're welcome.
It's funny because you just praised his roster, but you hate the coach. Well, Mr. Nesquick, it's been great having you on. I can't wait to see what the Linoones bring to the table this season. And to everyone watching, don't forget to like the video, sub for more YPL coverage, and let us know in the comments, what did you think about his draft? What do you think is missing from his draft? And we'll be back soon with more interviews and analysis in the YPL preseason. So stay tuned. Peace.